There's a strange paradox happening right now. You probably spent the last hour consuming content about finance. Maybe you watched 3 videos about investments, read 2 articles about hot stocks, and took a quick look at that podcast where a millionaire shares his secrets. And you know what Charlie Munger would say about this? That you're committing exactly the type of mistake he spent decades warning about, only in a way that nobody notices. Munger wasn't against studying. On the contrary, the man was a walking library. But there's a brutal difference between learning and just consuming, and this is where the invisible problem lies that's sabotaging millions of people who think they're getting financially educated. Let's go back a bit. Charlie Munger built a fortune alongside Warren Buffett, not because he consumed more information than others, but because he processed information in a completely different way. While everyone was reading the same analyses, the same reports, and the same gurus, Munger was doing something that seemed counterintuitive. He was reading less about finance and more about practically everything else. The guy read about physics, psychology, biology, history, mathematics, and it's not that he was a dilettante who liked to appear smart at dinners. Munger understood something fundamental that most people completely ignore. Knowledge isn't cumulative in the way we think. It doesn't work like stacking bricks, where the more you place, the higher the wall gets. Knowledge works like a network, and the value of each new piece of information doesn't depend on how much you know about that specific subject, but on how many connections you can make with completely different things. Now think about the average person trying to learn about finance today. They wake up, open YouTube, watch a 10-minute video about the 5 stocks that will explode in 2026. And then at breakfast, they listen to a podcast about dividends. At lunch, they read an article about day trading. At night, before sleeping, another video about financial education. This person feels productive. They're studying, right? They're getting financially educated, except they're not. What they're doing is creating an illusion of competence. It's like that guy at the gym who does bicep exercises every day and ignores the rest of the body. It seems like he's training because he's sweating, but the development is completely disproportionate. And worse, the person becomes vulnerable in ways they can't even imagine. Munger called this building knowledge inside a mental silo. You stuff more and more information inside the same category, but never develop the ability to see the complete picture. And in the world of finance, this is deadly, because the financial market doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's affected by politics, human psychology, historical cycles, technological changes, mass behavior, even by physics concepts like complex systems and chaos theory. Let me give you a concrete example. In 2008, there were thousands of brilliant financial analysts who knew every metric, every indicator, every asset pricing model. These people ate, slept, and breathed finance. And you know what happened? They were caught completely by surprise by the crisis. Why? Because they were looking at the trees and missed the forest. Meanwhile, some investors who understood mass psychology, who had studied historical crises, who comprehended how perverse incentives work in complex systems, saw the storm coming from far away. They weren't necessarily smarter or had access to privileged information. They simply had a broader knowledge network that allowed them to connect dots that pure specialists couldn't see. And here's the invisible mistake. When you consume financial content all the time, you think you're expanding your knowledge. But in reality, you're just making it denser in the same area. It's like adding more pixels to the same photo instead of widening the frame. The image gets sharper, but you keep seeing the same thing. Munger had a concept he called mental models. Basically, they were thinking structures that he borrowed from different disciplines and applied to his investments. He didn't invent this. He simply was one of the few who took it seriously. And the fascinating part is that the best mental models for investing frequently came from areas that had nothing to do with finance. Take the idea of inversion, for example. Munger was obsessed with this technique that comes from mathematics. Instead of asking, "How do I succeed at investing?" he inverted it. "How do I fail completely?" And then avoided those things. It seems simple, but it's profoundly powerful. And you don't learn this by watching another video about fundamental analysis or the concept of sustainable competitive advantage, which Munger and Buffett used obsessively. This comes from evolutionary biology and military strategy, not from corporate finance books. It's about understanding ecosystems, niches, natural barriers, about how some companies are like castles surrounded by moats full of crocodiles, while others are like beach stands that any wave can knock down. But here's the problem. Truly learning these things takes work. It takes much more work than watching pre-digested financial content. You need to read dense books, you need to think deeply, you need to make connections on your own. There's no animated YouTuber giving you a list of 5 mental models to use today. Or rather, there is, but when you consume it that way, you're getting the conclusion without understanding the process, and then you're back to the same problem. It's like the difference between learning a recipe and understanding cooking. If I teach you to make a specific chocolate cake, you know how to make that cake. But if you understand the chemical reactions between ingredients, understand how different proportions affect texture and flavor, understand the principles of temperature and time, you can create practically any dessert. The person who only knows the recipe thinks they know how to cook. The person who understands the principles really knows, and there's another perverse aspect to all this. Excessive content consumption creates a cognitive dependency. You stop thinking for yourself because there's always someone telling you what to do. Buy this stock, sell that one, Bitcoin will go up, the dollar will fall. It's a constant flood of opinions, and you become increasingly mentally passive. Munger hated this. He said that intellectual independence was an investor's most precious asset. It's not about being contrarian, just to be contrarian, but about having the ability to analyze something on your own and reach your own conclusions, even if everyone is saying something else. And you don't develop intellectual independence by consuming opinions all the time. It's like trying to learn to swim by watching swimming videos. At some point, you need to get in the water. There's a story that perfectly illustrates this. Once they asked Munger what was the best investment he had ever made. Everyone expected him to cite some stock that appreciated 1,000% or some billion-dollar deal. And you know what he answered? That his best investment was buying a complete set of Benjamin Franklin's works when he was young. It wasn't a stock, it wasn't real estate. It was a book. Why? Because that fundamentally changed how he thought. Franklin wasn't an investor, he was an inventor, politician, writer, scientist. But the way he approached problems, how he thought about virtues, about pragmatism, about building wealth through genuine value, all of that shaped Munger in a way that no finance course could ever do. And look how interesting. Munger didn't read that because someone made a video saying, "Read Benjamin Franklin to be rich." He read it because he was genuinely curious about interesting people and powerful ideas. The application to finance was a natural consequence, not the primary objective. This leads us to another problem with excessive financial content consumption. It kills genuine curiosity. When you're always hunting for the next tip, the next shortcut, the next secret strategy, you stop exploring knowledge for the pleasure of knowing. And it's precisely in this exploration, without an agenda, that you find the most valuable nuggets. Munger read about Roman history not because he thought it would help with investments. He read it because it was fascinating. But then, suddenly, seeing how the Roman Empire destroyed its own currency through uncontrolled inflation, he understood something profound about modern monetary policy that no contemporary economist could explain so clearly. The connection happened naturally because the knowledge base was there. Now compare this with the utilitarian approach of those who only consume financial content. Everything needs to have an immediate application. How will this make me rich? If there's no obvious answer, it's not worth it. The problem is that the most valuable things frequently don't have obvious value at the beginning. It's what scientists call basic research versus applied research. Applied research solves specific problems. Basic research expands knowledge frontiers, and that's where revolutions come from. And there's another layer to this invisible mistake. Excess financial content creates noise, not signal. When you're exposed to hundreds of different opinions about the same thing, it becomes increasingly difficult to think clearly. There are people saying the market will go up, people saying it will fall, people saying it's time to buy, people saying it's time to sell. And usually everyone has convincing arguments. Munger had an elegant solution for this: create rigorous mental filters. He simply ignored most of the noise. He didn't read analyst reports. He didn't watch financial TV. He didn't keep changing his opinion every week based on what others were saying. Instead, he focused on immutable, fundamental principles and let the rest go away. But you don't develop these filters when you're consuming everything indiscriminately. It's like trying to hear a specific conversation in a packed stadium. The more you try to listen to everything, the less you understand anything. Munger understood that clarity comes from subtraction, not addition. It comes from eliminating what doesn't matter, not from adding more things that might matter. And here's perhaps the cruelest aspect of this invisible mistake. It gives you the sensation of progress without real progress. You end the day feeling like you learned a lot because you consumed a lot of content. But if someone asks you, what exactly did you learn today that changed your understanding? Usually the answer is empty. It was a bunch of information that came in and went out without leaving a real mark. Munger said he hadn't truly learned something unless it changed his behavior. Knowledge that doesn't alter how you act isn't real knowledge. It's entertainment disguised as education. And man, how much financial content today is exactly that. Entertainment pretending to be educational. It makes you feel productive while keeping you passive. The thing is that building real wisdom is a slow and cumulative process. There's no shortcut. You don't become wise by watching quick videos. You become wise by reading difficult things, thinking deeply, making mistakes, reflecting on them, connecting ideas over years. It's boring. It's laborious. There's no instant gratification. That's why so few people do it. But you know what's interesting? The people who really get rich, not just make money, but build lasting wealth, almost always follow this slower and deeper path. They're not the ones consuming content all the time. They're the ones thinking, building, applying solid principles consistently over time. Munger was 99 years old when he died, and he continued learning until his last day. But he wasn't chasing every new fad, every new cryptocurrency, every new miraculous strategy. He was refining a thinking system he built over decades. And the foundation of that system didn't come from financial content. It came from philosophy, history, science, psychology, literature. So what's the solution? It's not to stop consuming financial content completely. It's to radically change the proportion and intention. If you spend 5 hours a week with financial content, maybe you should spend 1 hour and use the other 4 to study things that apparently have nothing to do with money. Behavioral psychology, history of economic crises, evolutionary biology, complex systems, Stoic philosophy. And when you do consume financial content, do it actively, not passively. Question everything. Don't accept ready-made conclusions. Look for the premises behind the arguments. And why is this true? 5 times in a row, like an annoying child. Force your brain to work, not just absorb. Another thing, give space for boredom. Munger spent hours just thinking, without consuming anything, just processing. Nowadays, people have a terror of emptiness. Every free second is filled with some stimulus: podcast in traffic, videos while eating, articles before sleeping. But it's in moments of quietness that real connections happen, that ideas consolidate, that wisdom forms. And perhaps most importantly, judge your progress by the quality of your decisions, not by the amount of content you consumed. Are you making better financial decisions? Are you avoiding obvious mistakes? Are you thinking more clearly and independently? If the answer is no, then all this content consumption is useless, no matter how impressive it seems. In the end, Charlie Munger wasn't a genius because he knew more about finance than everyone else. He was exceptional because he had a more complete mental framework, and that framework was built through decades of broad reading, deep thinking, and consistent application of fundamental principles. There's no shortcut for this. There's no 10-minute video that replaces it. There's no productivity hack that speeds it up. The invisible mistake behind excessive financial content consumption is thinking that quantity replaces quality, that speed replaces depth, that being informed replaces being wise. And while everyone is on the treadmill running faster and faster to nowhere, the people who really understand the game are walking slowly but in the right direction, building something that lasts.